they made it. There's a lot to do.
The wind blew the covers off, and it blew them to the north, and they fell on the ground. Then it rained, then it froze, and the covers were frozen to the ground for weeks. And look, today, 82 in the sun, 66 in the shade. All of the covers melted, except that piece right there, the bag. And that can't be budged, and the name of the car cover is Budge. That was the name of a famous tennis player, Don Budge. Look how the snow has receded in a month. It was months ago, March the 14th. But this came down. It recedes fast, doesn't it? It was 14 inches. You remember the nice path we shoveled around to the south side? That's PM, folks, post meridian, and it's this day, the 15th of March, and it's 2007 Anno Domini, and it's a fourth excoriation of a bunch of crooks who sit on the appellate term Supreme Court, State of New York, 9th and 10th Judicial Districts. Here's bum number 1. And the presiding bum. And a new bum. There are 3 other bums on there, Lippman, and McCabe, and Angelillo. This is Charles F. Dolan, the chairman of Cablevision, who violates public access law. This is his son, the CEO of Cablevision Systems Corporation. They each take $3 million of your subscriber money every year, sometimes more, plus all the stock and the perks and everything else. This is the Commission on Judicial Conduct. Herein is my letter to them. And it says this is my complaint against 3 judges, Rudolph for the 4th time, Tannenbaum for the 2nd time, and LaCava for the 1st time. They should be all fined and jailed, and you along with them. Glendora. And a copy of this report, or this excoriation or obloquy, is going to the Chief Judge of the State of New York, Judith K., and I do mean Judith K. Here is the paper. This is the caption. And the case is Glendora versus Charles F. Dolan and Cablevision Systems Corporation. Defendants, appellees, and the lousy judge on this is Peter Lane of the Rye City Court. And this paper is Glendora's notice of motion, and affirmation in support for relief from their nullity papers. They never signed them, and 6 other reasons, of March the 5th, 2007, pursuant to the New York State analog to Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, Rule 60B, relief. And I will be reading you this paper. It's only 24 pages. As soon as I recover. It has to be served within the next 5 minutes. It took $10 and it cost $14.45 to print and post. It is the 4th paper to this incompetent and impotent and incapable, low caliber appellate term, Supreme Court, State of New York, 9th and 10th Judicial District. It's the fourth paper to them in 4 days. Monday went out the mess that Rudolph, Tannenbaum, and Angelillo made of the Glendora versus Charles F. Dolan, Cablevision Systems Corporation, James L. Dolan, Mac Bedell, Thomas Garga, Charles Former, Peggy Anderson, Christine Savarino, Cecilia Masterilli, Robert Callaghan. These are all defendants. Sadly, Stevens, Burke and Burke, and Patricia Langelotti. And the mess that John Boach made of that, and the appellate term made a bigger mess of it. That was Mondays. On Tuesday, I went out Glendora versus Eacock, Deborah Eacock against Stephen Toman of the Phillipstown Court. Those people think it's, just fine and dandy to give your word and break it. There's nothing wrong with breaking your word once you give it. Nothing wrong at all. Nothing unethical or immoral about that. That's just peachy. That went out Tuesday. Wednesday, yesterday, was Glendora versus Cecilia Masterilli, Tybat Salako, Jill DeCrenza, and Officer Lewis. That was in the White Plains City Court, where the Park Avenue lawyers avariciously grumbled for the $5,000 that the White Plains Court awarded me. That went out yesterday, Wednesday. And today, within the next 5 minutes, this one is going out. Glendora versus Charles F. Dolan and Cablevision Systems Corporation, and the dirty judge is Peter Lane, the Rise City Court. And the dirty appellate judges are the ones I just showed you. Rudolph, Tannenbaum, and McCabe. Excuse me, Rudolph, Tannenbaum, and LaCava. And as the snow recedes from a month ago, the Valentine's Day storm of February the 14th, today is March the 15th, our prayer for these lost and sorrowful people is that it's from Matthew 13, that the seed will fall on them, they will be good ground, and they will hear the word and understand it, and that they will indeed bear good fruit instead of what they're doing now. The minister said in church, the first hand up gets to pick the first 3 hymns. And the old maid put up her hand first, and she said, I pick him, and him, and him. Can you believe this, folks? White Plains City Court, Glendora versus Masterilli, Salako, DeCrenza, Officer Lewis, Peekskill Police Department. Can you believe this? A trial has been set for August the 8th, 2007. I already won this case. I won it by default. And then the cheapskates, Walter Sarrock, Sadly, Stevens, Burke and Burke, and Cablevision, Charles Dolan and James Dolan, vacated the default through chicanery, through payoff, through improper influence, and the crazy Rudolph Lippman and McCabe let them get by with the vacatur of the default judgment, and it was a cheat by the appellate term. And so now We have to have a trial? Yes, we do. August the 8th, 2007, a trial. Well, I have written to the White Plains City Court that I want some subpoena forms, and I am going to subpoena Masterilli and Savarino and DeCrenza and Tabatslako and Eacock to testify at this trial. And now we go to Glendora versus Sadley, Stevens, Burke and Burke, and Walter A. Tharrock and Cecilia Masterilli. Glendora sued them for ignorant lawyering and shoddy workmanship, damaging her $5,000, and Hansberry ruined that. And Glendora is appealing Hansberry, and she has to ask for the CD, and she has to send a self-addressed stamped envelope before White Plains City Court will send her the CD of the trial. So there's that. And while she's at it, she will send the White Plains City Court their copy of the Robert Callaghan obituary. The model lawyer. He's the model lawyer. He cheats, he lies, and he steals, or he did, but now he's dead. But the truth is told by Glendora. So while we're at it, we'll do that. I think that's everything on that report. That's the 6th and 7th legal papers of the week. 7 of them had to be done this week. That is AM. And it's March the 15th. And this card is from Great Neck, Public Access. The time is 10:30 p.m. Saturdays. Repeat, day, Monday, time 3 p.m. Thank you, Shirley Bruno. Thank you, Sandy Ferguson. Grace and peace be unto you from God our Father. What else do you need? Let's get down to business. This is the 4th fiasco by the appellate term, Supreme Court so-called State of New York. This was served yesterday on the Ides of March. No, yesterday was the, well, thereabout. This is the Who to Sue copy. And it's still on appeal from the Rye City Court, Peter Lane, Westchester County, and the appellate term has ignominiously stole from Glendora $3,000 plus $3,000 plus $5,000 plus $3,000. And this is a quadruplet, as you know. The $3,000 was the Harrison Court. The $3,000 was the Phillipstown Court. $5,000 was the White Plains Court, and $3,000 is this court, the Rye City Court. Here's a bunch of crooks. The appellate term, 9th and 10th in judicial districts. Supreme Court, State of New York, United States of America, Internet. Glendora Plaintiff Appellant versus Charles F. Dolan and Cablevision Systems Corporation, defendants and appellees. This is a Glendora motion, notice of motion in motion, an affirmation in support for relief from nullity paper of March the 5th, 2007, pursuant to federal rules, pursuant to the New York analog to Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, Rule 60B, relief. Isn't that nice, the way it used to be? Well, I'll read you this paper. And we keep standing up for right, and we keep reminding people the way it used to be. The movement is Glendora. The return date is April the 25th, 2007. Any reply papers must be postmarked no later than April the 11th, 2007. The location is the appellate term, 141 Livingston Street on the 15th floor, Brooklyn, New York, and they are never there. The judges are never there. This is all done by mail. Between or among Suffolk County, Nassau County, Orange County, Putnam County, Westchester County, and Dutchess County. Did I mention Orange County? This is all done by mail. The clerks and the judges do not face each other. And their telephone number is 347-401-9580. And the relief requested is stated in the title. And the grounds are the 4 pages of March the 5th are a nullity. There is no signature by judges. It has to be signed to be a paper is not in order until it's signed by a judge. And in this case, it's 3 judges. And the 3 rotten judges are Kenneth W. Rudolph, Melvin Tannenbaum, and John McCarver. The case has not been determined nor pronounced judicially. The papers are all dictum and state no law. It is consumer fraud. And there's no statute of limitations on consumer fraud or on fraud. And the first bad actor was Charles F. Dolan, the chairman of Cablevision. The second bad actor was Cablevision Systems Corporation. The third was Robert N. Callaghy, and then came Christine Savarino, and then Peter Lane, and now you 3 judges of the appellate term, the worst. Kenneth W. Rudolph, Melvin Tannenbaum, and John R. Carver, and the honorable, of course, is all crossed out. They are not honorable. Or you could put in front of honorable, dishonorable. And they're ghostwriters. And Cecilia Masterilli. And then Tabat Salako. And then Officer Lewis. And then Walter A. Saroff. and Sally Stevens, Burke, and Burke. And next came Rudolph, McCabe, and Littman, worst of them all, and 2 ghostwriters. The legal basis is stated in the title. The supporting papers are Glendora's record on appeal, her appellant's brief and reply brief, and her affidavit in support affixed here too. And these 60 pages, or so in this case it was only 20 pages, were served on Walter Sarok at Sally Stevens, Burke and Burke at 230 Park Avenue, New York, New York, 10169, his designated address. And the service was by U.S. mail on blank blank date 2007 by Brad Sachs. See his affidavit. And this is dated March the 14th. That's 2 days ago. County of Columbia and State of New York, yours in truth, in Armor Patriae and in Armor New Yorki. And this is without prejudice from the Uniform Commercial Code, Article 1207, Glendora, and it's a chat with Glendora on 53 TV stations and 530 municipalities, including Washington, D.C. and Albany, New York. www.achatwithglendora.com. And lead people to be perfect, stop the cruelty to the animals, stop the injustice in the courts, and sue judges when they break the law. Well, I found out the judges don't do anything but break the law. So that means sue all judges. Now, we are going to move on to the affirmation in support. Here is their atrocity. Isn't this something? You know, these stupid papers that they put out. And their stamp was illegible. That's my writing over it. Their rubber stamping. It was, the oral argument was on February the 14th in 14 inches of snow in White Plains. It took me 2 days to get down there and back and do it for 15 minutes. And there's something on here that said that it was decided, oh, the lower court is the Rye Court, and Charles Dolan, Cablevision, they are the defendants' appellees. Glendora is the plaintiff appellant. The lower court judge was Peter Lane, hopelessly corrupt. And it's somewhere here it says it was decided on March the 5th. Well, it wasn't decided. It was decided before I got there. What else is wrong with this? It says the above named appellant having appealed to the court from an order of the city court, City of Rye, Westchester County, and they leave out Peter Lane's name, entered on June the 24th, 2004. And the said appeal having been argued by the appellant in person, and no brief submitted by the respondents, and they didn't appear in person. This is enough to upset anybody's throat. And no brief submitted for the respondents, and due deliberation, that's a big lie, having been had therein, it is ordered and adjudged. Hardly. It is not signed. That's the second lie. That the order is affirmed without cause. And it says, Rudolph, Tannenbaum, and LaCava concur. So this is a bogus nullity, and it is not signed. And I almost think that you have no chance of winning if you do go before them and stand up for right and do an oral argument. Anyway, it's not a case of win and lose. This is a case of cheat. And this is not even signed by a clerk. Not that a clerk can be a suffragan judge. But April Ann April is not a judge, and it's not signed. Initials are not a signature. And they have this address right. What do you know? Charles R. Dolan and Cablevision Systems Corporation, it should be, at 47 Purdy Street, Harrison, New York. And they got the zip code wrong. Dum-dum. The zip code is 10528. Well, how's that for a starter? That's one page. And now we go on to another stupid. And it's the same mistakes. And it lists President Rudolph, Presiding Justice, Tannenbaum, and LaCava, J.J. And these people are total failures to themselves, to the municipalities, to the counties, to the state, and to our nation. And this is where it says it was decided on March the 5th, and this is where Glendora refutes that and says it was decided before I ever got there. Isn't it awful? And these state judges want a raise. What they should get is a fine. Do not support the state judges to get a raise. The appeal from an order of the City Court of Rye, Westchester County, Peter Lane, JJ entered 21/2004. This is only 5 years later. It started actually in 2002. And that is an incomplete sentence. These people can't read. They can't read a caption right. They turn the caption upside down, as they did in the case Glendora versus Dolan, Charles Dolan, and about 12 defendants. And the last defendant was Patricia Langelotti. And Angelillo turned the case upside down and made it Glendora versus Angelilli. I mean, excuse me, it should be Glendora versus Langelotti. No such case was ever brought. You cannot believe a thing. You cannot believe a thing that you read in the reporter books. You cannot believe a thing. They are all lies. First of all, the judges don't deal with the gravamen. They don't deal with the facts. And they don't deal with the issues. So everything that you read in the reporters, I'm talking about West and all of them, they're all lies. There's no truth in any of them. The order denied the plaintiff's motion, in effect, to renew pursuant to CPLR Civil Practice Laws and Rules 2221E, that's renewal, her prior motion for poor person relief, and now that's wrong. I did not apply for poor person relief. And state, that's stupid to call it poor person relief. You should call it what the feds call it, informa pauperis. But I did not apply for informa pauperis or poor person relief. I paid my fee. I applied for Peter Lane to pay the $1,300 for the minutes for the trial that he let go 6 hours. And he showed total inability to conduct a trial. This is against public policy. I have a right to presume, and so do you, that a judge knows how to conduct a trial. Peter Lane did not. He let the trial go 6 hours. There was no need of that, because Callaghy stipulated that he was going to defend only on jurisdiction, which is already a dead issue, and he wasn't going to defend on the merits. Then that meant that when the trial was over, Glendora didn't have to do anything. If he wasn't going to defend on the merits, she didn't have to show any evidence. So Peter Lane should have grasped that, and the trial jurisdiction, which is already a dead issue, and he wasn't going to defend on the merits. Then that meant that when the trial was over, Glendora didn't have to do anything.